What caught my eye about the 96 was back in the day it was more affordable than a C10. You could get a short bed pickup Chevy clean title for pretty cheap compared to a C10. Yeah, I started getting into cars and trucks more back when my uncle, he had got a 53 Chevy car. We put airbags on it, put like a 350 motor into it, and then I started doing some builds too with my cousin Marcel. He did a few SEMA builds, started welding more, doing rust repair, and just ran with it from there.
There was shops, especially like out-of-state shops, that were starting to do a massive amount of metal work on these trucks, and the air suspension drastically changes the ride height of them. The whole engine would suddenly have like superchargers on them with nitrous, and everything's polished and chrome. And it was things that people hadn't seen on trucks before. So it took it to a different level, but it also gave the magazine an opportunity to show people around the world what was going on.
The 88, 98 started to fade a little bit, because people are always trying to refresh and what's the next cool thing. And the new body style came out in 99.
They weren't too sure about the new body truck.
Where a lot of people liked that new 99 body style, there was a lot of pushback.
They were wanting the old style truck. They just wanted it. And you could order the old style truck up to, if I remember correctly, 2001, you could still order that body style of truck.
2000s, these things weren't so popular. I was always still into them, and by that time too, it was hard to find maybe nice ones.
I left and actually took my key guys with me, which was Brian McCormick, Courtney Halliwell, and we started Street Trucks magazine. But the cool part about Street Trucks was that it was indifferent to everything else going out there. But those magazines had thick covers on them. They were 4-color throughout, and that did not exist in any magazine, automotive or truck-wise, that was currently being produced.
Building vehicles and selling parts for vehicles to marketing vehicles and marketing products was an idea from Jim Morris. Jim Morris and I one day were just sitting around brainstorming on what's next. And he kind of wanted to do the same thing, and so did I. I actually followed through and started my agency. It is the million-dollar question. It's where's Waldo, where's Jim Morris, where's Jimmy Hoffa? It's all in the same vein. For what we know, Jim Morris was last seen in Arizona.
Yeah, 97, 98 maybe. No.
I believe he was working at an RV company.
We think Morris is behind this door in the basement. And
it's like a tree, and it just goes like this and it branches out. And you'll see well-known names. Some suspension companies, some performance companies, some personal business companies, of where it all transpired and where it all went.
Belltech was purchased by the German coilover company KW Suspensions.
And the idea was for them to build our shocks. That idea from building our shocks came to, well, how would you guys feel if I was to ask you to be our North America distributor for KW Automotive? So we went in there, we negotiated a deal, and KW purchased Belltech. This is how they do things. They don't mess around.
As they've grown, they've gotten into more of the domestics and the JDMs as well. But the roots, again, stem from the European side of things. You have all these strut front-end trucks, which is allowing us to build coilovers, adjustable coilovers, independent rebound, compression dampening, that type of thing. And still trying to lead the way in innovative technology. You'll see our products starting to integrate with those electronics, or possibly running their own standalones. But that's kind of where I see the future heading. Lifted, lowered, I don't think that matters. That's not going to go away. And it's really changing the game. So much so that now we're looking at markets like the OBS, where we can take a traditional non-strut type front end and make that conversion and give those older trucks new life by improving that handling that they really desperately needed back then.
You know, C10s have been big for a while now. I think guys are kind of moving away from those and moving into the CK trucks.
And it's growing again. You're seeing that spike over the last probably 2 years.
The body style is still the same and you still get to have that retro look, but just a little bit better ride.
Yeah, when I first got my OBS, it was in pretty good condition. The clear was fading on it, but there wasn't any big body damage. Had a V6 in it. Ended up picking up the truck for $4,000. Just ran with that, lowered it, put some 20s on it. Yeah, what caught my eye about the OBS was the body lines. It looked pretty sleek to me. I like the interior on them too. Mainly looking at pictures, going on Instagram, seeing what other people were doing. Even like some of the 90s style I was looking, so I saw the boys. So the must-haves when I redid the truck was definitely running the sport mirrors, put a roll pan on it. I wanted to weld up the stake bed pockets to make the bed rails look nice and clean. So when I extended the tailgate, I was expecting just to weld it up, add the material to it, and do some minimal body work to it, it'd be fine. But I ended up welding the tailgate up, and the panels sank pretty good. We made a tool to actually push the tailgate outwards. If I remember correctly, we primed the truck 2 or 3 times, blocked it out, used calipers. You do a panel, and you flip the tape over on the body line, just keep everything nice and crisp. They're not all lazy, how they were kind of stock. So the tipping point for the CK build, the OBS build, was putting the cowl induction hood on it. I was contemplating maybe just painting the hood, but then we ended up deciding, let's do body work on the truck and let's paint the truck. I ended up going with Auto Air Colors Nightmare Blue. We did the full truck in it, bumpers, roll pan, everything. And it's a killer color, it's a sparklescent as well, so when it's in the sun, you really see that sparkle going on. And I was thinking, do I want to keep the V6 or do something with more power? So we decided to go with the 5.3 iron block LS motor because everybody was swapping those into C10s, into square bodies. Why can't we do it in the OBS? Nobody really made motor mounts for it, so we ended up going with Hooker, some square body motor mounts that we made work with the OBS. So the exhaust was a challenge as well. We wanted to run some headers on the 5.3, so we ended up contacting Gibson, and they ended up saying they had something that would work with the truck. It's a C10 header.
You got plenty of room with
It
that.
should be, I think how the C10s go, they kind of go back. and
Yeah.
forth. It's hard to know how much work is it going to be. Is it a full redesign or is it use some of the old pipes, put them in a new flange, finagle it a little?
So we ended up getting that C10 header and we had to do a few modifications, but after that, it all fit nice and tight into the frame rails. And I didn't want to pop the hood open and see, hey, you got like a little baby motor. So we ended up putting the high-rise manifold on it just so it looks nice and beefy and it makes really good torque. So these trucks stock, they have coils in the front and a leaf spring in the rear. And I wanted to do something more modern, like running coilovers on the truck. So I ended up getting with Belltech, because I know Belltech was doing it big in the 90s. And then we also got with Choppin Block as well. They have a full kit. And we paired that with the Belltech drop spindle as well, because we're putting a big engine into it, so we need a suspension that's going to handle it pretty well. I wanted to do a torque arc setup and also go with the coilover setup. Vince from Choppin Block found out he was doing his 454 truck for SEMA, so we started bouncing some ideas off of him. This is one of the first kits, the triple bypass from Belltech, and this was actually one of their first kits they were doing for an OBS, so we put them on the truck, did some fine tuning. ended up going with Gibson. They sent us some tubing for the exhaust, all stainless. And then we started had to figure out how are we gonna mount it. We worked with Deeds and they sent us some exhaust hangers, V-bands. And I burned it up fully with stainless rod, TIG welded it. So we pulled the stock steering wheel out, trashed it, threw it away, got rid of the airbag, and we actually had to weld in a little stub for the quick release into the column. So when we hit up TMI, they did not make an interior for this truck, so we ended up working with them. We went with buckets, a little console in it. We made a little lip for the front. We flipped the valance around, did some mods on that, and then we also made aluminum splitters for the front to give it more aerodynamics. What I know about the Boyd rims is they did a lot of the OBS trucks back in the 90s. They're running a lot of the 15 older style vintage rims.
You know, I've always been into the old wheels. We call them our retro series, which is a lot of the old 80s and 90s designs. And we're getting a lot of requests to build some of those old designs, and we're building them in bigger sizes. I mean, sizes that weren't even thought of back in '88. I mean, we're building these things in 24-inch, 24 by 15s for some of these trucks. A lot of 20, 22-inch stuff. And they're putting them on these trucks, and it's kind of cool because it's just breathing new life into that old body style. So what we did on Jordan's truck for the wheels is we went with mesh style, or HRO1 style, but we modified it. It was one of the first sets we did with a standard lip rim. Because he was going more for that road race pro touring look. Because of the spindles on these trucks, we had to go with a bigger cap than we normally do. So we did a little cool custom cap and we brushed that, little accents on there.
Gibson saw it, they really liked what we did to it, and they offered me a spot at the SEMA show, so I couldn't turn it down.
And I flew two guys down from Canada to help me finish the truck, do color sand and buff on it, and we loaded it up and went to SEMA. Nobody knows, but we were late. We were supposed to be there on Saturday, we were there on Monday.
I remember going to the SEMA show. There was sport trucks everywhere.
The people building the parts suddenly wanted to have something there that really promoted a particular product.
I wasn't the only one with an OBS there at the SEMA show. There was also a few other OBS trucks, 454 trucks, so they're coming back.
What do you think about this whole OBS movement? And really kind of neat, you're one of the first guys this year, 2019. We're seeing a handful of OBSs here, and yours is one of the talk of the town, if you will.
Yeah, I've seen it growing recently, and I just want to do something quick before someone else does something like similar to it. So I want to do like some aero on it, put an LS motor, drop it down, put it on some 19s.
It was a little bit nerve-wracking because we wanted to stay true to the original truck and make sure that it looked correct. Judging from the response of SEMA, we did it.